Where to Hunt podcast. It's okay.
Hi, I'm Dan Small, host of Outdoor Wisconsin, and I listen to Where to Hunt.
Meh, it's okay.
I'm Kurt Geyer with Working Class Bow Hunter. I listen to Where to Hunt podcast, and it's decent.
It's all right.
Where to Hunt podcast. It's okay.
Hey, this is Bud Fisher with Catching Deers, and I think the Where to Hunt podcast is all right.
Feels like fall out there, doesn't it?
It does feel like fall out there. It's
Wear a
raining.
hoodie for a reason.
Right, 2 hoodies, same brand.
Same wonderful brand, same wonderful room.
This is Eric and
You know me.
Greg. You know me if you down with OPP.
Something like that.
You know what? Old Greg. I don't know. Hey, everybody. This is the Where to Hunt podcast coming at you from the Okayest Hunter podcast studio. Smack dab out of the middle of Wisconsin-ish. Not really. We're more like the midwestern part of Wisconsin.
No, we're in the
Mid-eastern, southeastern.
Eastern. Come on.
Oh, God.
You are
How many
geographically
beers?
challenged.
I'm just so bad.
You haven't even started yet.
I had a beer earlier in Oktoberfest for Rut Club Radio.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, hey, folks, thanks for joining us today. This is the podcast that connects public land hunting enthusiasts, aka the Okayest podcast in the Midwest. And if you haven't heard of the Okayest Hunter, we strongly recommend you go to okayesthunter.com. And when you find something you think is okay, you can use code Where to Hunt for 10% off. Yeah, I'm drinking some scotch now. I poured up some of that Super Peaty Lafroig, however you say it. It's peaty.
Okay.
Woof. Whitetail Experience, what up? How's it going? Said good luck this opener. That's right.
Thanks,
Our season
boys.
opens this Saturday.
Yes, it does.
I will be celebrating my daughter's 3-year-old birthday, and you will be in a stand.
In a stand on the ground. Not sure yet. I got a couple ideas, but waiting for a little more intel here. We'll see.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
You brought some good news. I won't say anything. If you won't say anything, we'll just let it
I'm
be.
not going to say a word.
All right. Word is the word. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Let's do some sponsor call outs and we'll dive into some stuff. For those of you that don't know, I still haven't changed the Backwoods bumper. I'm sorry, but if you want to save 10% off of Backwoods Grind coffee, go to backwoodsgrind.com. Their website sounds like coffee. I'm just saying. And enter in code. What's my code over there? W2H podcast for 10% off. Look at that. Here we go.
Whether you're at work, in a tree stand, or simply waking up, it's important to be alert, and there's no better way to get there than with Backwoods Grind Coffee. Ground fresh for every order, delivered straight to your door. Backwoods Grind Coffee.
Oh.
Take a look at your feet. Are you wearing Gumleaf USA boots? If you said no, you gotta reevaluate some things. Each pair is handmade and tested to take over 1 million flexes. These boots will take just about anything you can throw at them. Use promo code W2H2020 for 10% off your final purchase at gumleafusa.com.
And you got a sponsor call too, don't you? There, Greg?
I do.
Give it a quick word.
Sure. Vector Custom Shop. That's the word. Go to vectorcustomshop.com if you're looking to buy a set of arrows custom built to your specifications. You can choose from a sample or a 2-pack, a test pack, where you could have 2 different arrows, 2 different spines, weights, whatever, 2 different ones built, and then you can send them on a test flight and see which ones work best for you. And when you figure that out, you can order a half dozen or a dozen. And when you order those and go to pay for them, you can enter discount code Where to Hunt to save 10% at vectorcustomshop.com.
Slam dunk. Look at that.
Boom.
That's all we got, guys. We're no Joe Rogan over here. We don't got like 1,000 ads to call out. Just a couple. People we like, the brands we love and use and trust and know. Yeah, that's what we got.
Good
we
stuff.
just missed a caller, by the way. I think it was our friends over at Whitetail Experience, but they've hit the phone lines hot. They came in hot.
Yeah, they did.
Let's see if we can get that fish to bite back again later on. Guys, we'll be taking calls throughout the whole show today. So feel free to call. The phone line is, for those that don't know, you can call into the Word Hunt Podcast. It's 262-757-4122. If you're hearing this in podcast land, mark your calendar for Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we will gladly take your call. We also go live for Rut Club Radio every Tuesday at 5:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you want to report on some rut activity or share what you're doing this season, we'd love to hear from you. All right, with that, let's go ahead and bring our guests on to get you guys unmuted here. We got Kenny and Derek with Full Draw Assassins. What up, fellas?
Hey,
We got Derek and Kenny. So, Derek, you say your name, and then Kenny, you say your name.
Kenny.
Did we lose Derek?
No, I'm here, fellas. I'm just waiting to see what's going on with Kenny.
There we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, that's
We
better.
can hear you. Yeah, it's better. It sounded pretty garbly for a second there. Are you behind the wheel?
Yeah, I just plug it in to make sure my battery doesn't die on you guys.
All right, we got you then. Cool. We're here. We're live. We're doing this thing. So, where are you guys from? Let's start there.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Sorry. Greg finally interrupted someone for the first time ever. Where are you guys from?
Yeah, you got it. Bucks County, PA. Just southeastern part of the state.
Okay, I'm glad you got your region of the state correct, as I totally botched ours.
Unreal.
Yeah, if you know where Philadelphia is, we're 20 minutes, 25 minutes north of Philadelphia.
Cool. Did they actually film Always Sunny in Philadelphia in Philadelphia?
No.
That pisses me off.
They filmed like certain scenes there, and the rest was all out in LA.
Oh,
it
yeah.
pissed us off too. I just found that out actually recently.
That's
But
disappointing,
they did a really good job with making things look like it was in Philadelphia, and I was like, "There's no way that's not in Philly," and it wasn't.
So they just took all their B-roll in Philly and then just did everything else in the studio.
Yeah. Well, they're big Philly guys though. They're from Philly, a couple of them. I actually met Mac at a Phillies game before, and he was the coolest dude in the world.
No way. Dude, that's pretty neat. How about that?
He threw out the first pitch, and he sat right in front of me, and he was with D, and D was there. And it's pretty neat.
That is pretty freaking neat. That's awesome. Well, shit. Okay. And there's a lot of hunters in Pennsylvania. We have we can see our stats. There's a number of you guys over there that listen to the show.
Thanks for putting up with us.
It's pretty cool. I don't know how you guys even found us. How do people from Pennsylvania find a couple idiots out of Wisconsin?
Well, honestly, I don't. Well, it's funny that you say that about Wisconsin, because I was just listening to a Working Class Bowhunter podcast the other day, because they had Kip Campbell on, and he's a real big
they're Illinois, those guys.
guy. And they said Wisconsin's the Pennsylvania of the Midwest.
That's interesting.
With all the hunters and the style of hunting and how just how crazy we are about it.
Yeah, we have a pretty
diehard population.
Diehard population. It's not as big as Pennsylvania or Michigan. Our numbers have dwindled, but I can remember as a kid, I mean, it was nothing to see, passing trucks on the way up north. Everybody had orange on. Everybody was, pretty jacked to go out and gun hunt. We'd see a lot of people from Illinois and Minnesota coming too, and on occasion Michigan. But the Northwoods of Wisconsin was the place for
the cat's meow.
Yeah, for Illinois people to come and deer hunt.
For sure.
Yeah, that's how I grew up. I mean, we're in the southern part of the state, but most of the deer hunting, during rifle season, is all up towards the northern New York border. We were lucky to have some private property up there that we hunted, but if you drive around those first 3 days, man, it's the Orange Army. It's a real thing.
Yep.
They're everywhere, man. It's insane. You just hear, it sounds like Vietnam on opening day. It's crazy.
It was actually quiet last year for us. We didn't hear a lot of shots. I was surprised.
My past 4 years, I mean, granted, I haven't gone to the Northwoods, but my uncle still goes, and I keep in contact with him, and he's like, yeah, man, the past 5 years, it's been awful quiet up here. And we've got other issues going on.
But quiet too. Because we used to be able to shoot does on opening day, and they changed that now. So opening day of rifles just the first week is buck only.
Wow.
So that has changed a lot. When it was doe only, I mean, that's when it sounded like Vietnam. Like, it was just like boop, 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 all day. And now, like, the one time, I was like, I didn't even know. I had to check my calendar to make sure it was open today. It was that quiet when they just switched the buck. A lot of people actually didn't go up for that reason, because they go up there to get their meat. You know, they're not really horn hunting. So a lot of people didn't buy a license that year.
Wow. I think our dynamic is just, it's older guys and baby boomers, and a lot of them just hung it up, or they've passed away, or, you know, their kids didn't want to carry on that tradition.
You'll see what this year looks like with the pandemic. You know, it sounds like record number of people are taking the outdoors.
I think it's gonna do good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, make sure you're in your place.
Yeah, no
Be
kidding.
careful out there. But in all seriousness, man, it's good to have you guys on the show. You know, we've been flirting on social media for a while now, and I think we really enjoy what you guys are putting out, and I think you maybe like what we're putting out. So, you know, here we are connecting, and we've had a lot of guests on through just meeting people on Instagram or Facebook, and it's pretty cool. Why don't you guys take a minute and tell folks, like, who you guys are, what you're doing, and then we can kind of unpack from there.
Hey, Ken, you want to tell them who we are, and I'll explain kind of what we're doing?
Yeah, so me and Derek, we've been buddies since, I don't know, we were like 10 years old playing baseball together. You know, we both grew up, went to schools, and, you know, we hung out throughout the years. But we really didn't know that each other hunted until one day I bumped into him running around town, and he goes, "Oh, I need a job." I'm like, "All right, I'll hook you up." I hired him. And it's the first thing he tells me. He's like, "I got to take off next week because I'm going to rifle camp." I'm like, "All right, well, you're not leaving me with much room to play with, dude, but all right, you know, I'll pull you this solid." And I told him, I was like, "Well, I wanted to get back into hunting this year anyway." Well, fast forward 4 years, he's throwing a camera at me. I still haven't shot my first deer yet. And he's telling me, "Hey, we got to start filming everything." And, you know, here we are going on a little journey. Two buddies from small town suburbs of Philadelphia, just filming our hunts, taking pictures of what we're doing, and showing everybody out there, you know, you don't need fancy equipment. You just got to go where the animals are at, put the work in, and you'll find success, and hopefully, you know, get it on camera for everybody, and they can follow our journey while we're doing it.
That's cool. So you going to get on a deer this year or what?
Yeah, well, I actually got on my first one last year. I actually got two last year.
Cool.
So
you got your own
I had a
meat.
lot of nerves going. I had a lot of nerves going into the season because, you know, I'm getting older and older, and it was like getting more embarrassing that I haven't shot my first deer yet. But I wanted to always make it a point to get it with my bow first, and not just a rifle.
That's almost like the same feeling I feel like a high schooler has when they haven't, you know, done the deed yet. And everyone else is like, "Hey, I've done it now, right?" And you're like, "No." I'm like, "Oh man, I don't want to be the 40-year-old virgin, right?" Like,
yeah, it's late, but it doesn't mean you're going to be bad at it at the end of the day, you know?
right. To each his own. Everyone's at a different point in their journey. You know, like you go to the gym and you see, you know, someone working out and they're all ripped and fit and chiseled, and you're like, "Well, I'm pudgy and stuff," or, you know, whatever.
And
round the shape, but like, look, maybe they started worse off than you were. You don't know that. You know, everyone's at different places.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you know, I like to give Derek a lot of credit because he has been helping me throughout this journey. Because the things that I don't know, I lean on him to help me out and figure out. And at the same time, put my into it, and we, you know, bounce off each other in that sense to try to figure some things out. But, you know, if you look like Rogan, he's got powerful friends, and they helped him out on his hunting journey, and look where he's at.
That's a good point. You know, that's interesting because we talked with the Whitetail Legacy guys a couple weeks ago, Homie and Cody, and Homie's not, you know, at least in the woods, he's not as versed as Cody is, and Cody's kind of his mentor. And Greg's been that for me over the last, you know, couple of years now. And at least we've really cranked up the volume on that. You know, I really stand by the name Okayest Hunter, and if you've ever hunted with me, you know why. It's not even like I try to be that way. It just is. But it's good to have someone kind of mentor you through some things, and someone that's got some of that either tactical or technical experience. That's cool.
Yeah, because I think that was one of my biggest problems in the beginning was, you know, I hunted when I was younger in my mid-teens, but then it fell off. You know, I went to school for a little bit, And then it was just always like, well, where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I start? You know, I understand it's grab a bow, grab some gear, but then it's like, where do you go? What are you looking for? What do I need really? And not just grabbing the most expensive stuff off the rack, thinking that's going to bring you, put a gear in the back of your truck.
Right.
And once me and Derek reconnected, it was like, all right, well, now I got a rifle. All right, I'll start there. And just the ball just kept rolling and rolling. We stumbled into that little lease that we have. And it's just been on the up since then.
And so, Derek, what's your take on some of the stuff?
Kenny, honestly, I don't like kissing his ass too much because I do a lot, but dude, Kenny's really putting the work in, man. For someone who hasn't shot as many deer as like the average guy who's putting content out and stuff, man, and he puts the work in. He's staying, like right now he's away at work at a hotel and he's shooting in the hotel parking lot, shooting his bow every day. When he comes home on the weekend, he's shooting his bow. He's going to the lease, putting the mineral sights out, checking the cameras with me. Like, he's putting the work in. And I always told him, I'm like, dude, anyone your age who hasn't shot a buck they would have stopped. It's real hard they would have gave up. They would have rather do something else that they're good at. And he just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. I'm so proud of him. I shoved his stuff down his throat because I had a more successful past in hunting, and he was my hunting partner. I pushed him, and he's really on board with it, and we're working really well together. It's like a yin and a yang. He feeds off me, I feed off him. It's really good. And then this year, good things are going to happen for him. I'm pushing all my cards are going in his basket right now because I'm trying to really push it for him because he's putting all the work in. He needs to get it done, and I really think something's going to happen this year for him because if you put the work in, anything can happen,
That's it. You got to get the reps in, right? Like Gary Vaynerchuk, who I follow in the business community, says you can talk about push-ups so you're fucking blue in the face, but at some point you got to actually do the push-ups. You got to put the work in. You can't just talk about all this stuff, right?
And that's something that's been a 180 for him, like even like before this whole filming stuff, and like even me, like we didn't really. I mean, we shot our bows and stuff through the summer, but not like we did this year, and not like we did last year, and we took care of our property, but again, not like we did this year and not like we did last year. We really are just going into this season 100% aggressive, pedal to the floor, like nothing's going to get in our way. We're just no excuses for anything. Like, it's going to be full aggressiveness, and for him to be on board with that, it's just incredible. It's awesome. That's why we work so good together, and that's why we're doing so well for ourselves right now.
So it'll be that much more disappointing when it doesn't happen. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
What an ass.
I have the intro video for our season one, and I'm like, dude, this is if we don't we got the intro video down, we got the editing down. If we don't have deer to shot on camera after this has just all been a waste of time. But no, I mean, I am a firm believer if you put the work in, good things will happen to you. There's no doubt in my mind it's going to be a great season. I can't say that enough. I don't want to jinx anything. I don't like stuff like that. But if you put the work in, I mean, hunting's luck, but it's really not. If you put the work in and you know where the deer are, or you go after the deer and you do everything you need to do, you cross those T's and dot those I's, there's no reason you can't fill your tags. You know what I mean? If you want to shoot a 150, but you only have 120s, that's a little far-fetched. You're not going to be able to do that. But you got to set your bar to where you can accomplish it. Don't set it too high. Like I know our property, we're not going to shoot a 150. We don't have them. I could try to stretch those horns as much as I want. They're not going to be 150-inch deer. But so we're happy with mid-120s, low 130 deer. And I think if we keep doing what we're doing, there's no reason both of us can't fill our tags. And then, like, we're going out to Ohio. We've been putting the work out there. There's no reason why we can't, at least one of us, fill a tag out there.
So you guys are hunting PA and Ohio this year?
Yeah.
And it's private land in PA, and is it public in Ohio, or?
Public in Ohio. That's a reason. So last year we decided, hey, it's 7 hours from us. Why not? They got deer that we don't have. And, you can't shoot what you don't have, so you got to go find them. And that's what we're doing. And we never really hunted public land. I always hunted kind of private. And I was like, hey, listen, let's go out in public. There's no reason why we can't do it. I don't want to be those guys that just sit in our 30-acre lease shooting deer and people knocking us saying that we don't put the work in. So we went out in Ohio in March, right during the COVID. We spent 5 days boots on the ground scouting spots, and we were just there last week for 3 days scouting spots and putting boots on the ground. So we've scouted, we've done our homework, we're putting the work in. So at the end of the day, we can't say we didn't give it our all. And if we do connect, you can't say we didn't earn it. You know what I mean? We put the time in. We're putting the time in, and we're trying to show people, mostly from our area, the guys that hunt, like you guys said, a lot of PA hunters. Not all, but there's a lot of PA hunters that have the PA mentality of they're comfortable where they're at. They're comfortable with shooting a 120, which is fine. It's a beautiful deer. I would shoot a 120. That's a gorgeous deer if it's happy for you. But they'll sit there and say they wish they shot this, or they wish they seen this, but we don't have it. Well, we know we don't have that deer, so we're going out and getting it. And we're trying to inspire people to get off their couch, get out of Pennsylvania, and go take a ride and go scout public land. It's open for us. It's available for us. You buy a hunting license, you go on free land, you put the work in, anything can happen.
That's a great mentality. That's why I'm glad that we're talking with you guys. The fact that you're putting in private land is no joke. You got to put in a lot of work. I don't know much about it. I know a few folks that have it.
That's a lot of people forget. Private, you just don't have private land because we'll talk to people at the archery range that we go to, and it's a public archery range. People they're all mostly hunting public, and they hear that we hunt private, and they kind of just not snug us off, but they think that it's like a given if you hunt private land, and you still got to put the work in, especially when we only have 30 acres, so we got to do something to try to get these deer on our property. It's not to show up and shoot a deer. It's actually harder with 30 acres because there's deer to get a deer to live on 30 acres when there's thousands of acres around you. It's not that easy, and it's the same thing kind of as public. You kind of just got to just get a game plan and see it unfold. That's all it is.
That's cool. What, go ahead, Greg.
Well, with private too, your sits are kind of limited. Unless you're going to keep pushing the envelope every weekend, which we know,
exactly.
From experience that it doesn't always work out real well. If you're going to keep hunting the same spot. Yeah. If you only got a handful.
I'm happy you said that. So the last couple of years, we would hunt religiously Friday after work, Saturday all day. That was our religious thing, and we were there every weekend toting around and stuff. But so we came in the season and said, hey, we're going to kind of give it a break, and we did that all summer. So we hung trail cameras in mid-June, and we didn't check them until this Saturday. So we let them sit. We weren't in there. We weren't putting our scent in there. We were staying away, and we had bigger bucks on camera than we've ever had on the 5 years we've had this lease, because it's just the social stress that we're keeping off these deer. We're not in there pushing them, pressing them out. So now we're having these bucks consistently during daylight hours living on our 30 acres. They're not just passing through. They're there every other day. So and that's what you say. It's hard because we're trying to figure out hey, I have a set, and then Kenny has a set, and then we have a set that we film from, and then we have a blind. It's we got to really be strategic I know we want to hunt Saturday, but last Saturday we got blown out, and 7 days might not be enough for those woods to calm down. So we might need to not sit and sacrifice a sit. And years past, we didn't think of stuff like that. We would just go in and go in and be like, damn, why are these deer, they're coming in 100 yards and they're getting hung up and they're not coming in. And we kind of figured out that's just because the pressure we were putting on that property, we were putting way too much pressure on it. And that's something we've really learned over the years and are really going to utilize it this year and be a lot smarter.
Yeah, that's a good idea. You're learning what winds you can hunt on, and you obviously are being more aware of your scent trail and where it's going and how to access differently, I'm sure. That's
really
going to
exactly this year would be a lot smarter.
Yeah, that's gonna play a huge
And
role.
that's with time too,
Yeah,
like
that's
time, because
Good idea.
the bucks we have as of
Yeah,
we
you
have a
learn
buck
them.
on counter Saturday. He's been consistently around there at like 5 in the morning in front of a stand that we planned on hunting opening day. So we're like, either we're gonna have to get in the stand at like 3:30 in the morning, like that. That's what we're gonna have to do,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, someone just commented. They said they just started following you guys actually, and they said you seem to really be putting in the time. Private land isn't easy. He said he hunts some all private with tons of pressure all around. You only have a few hunts that you can get on them before they now. I'm tripping up here. I'm not sure what the word needs to be there, but it's maybe wrong. Before you're hunting them, so that's cool, man. That you guys are like resonating with people. I believe he's out of New Jersey, so I don't. Again, as the geographically challenged dipshit in the room, I don't think that's too far from you guys.
From where I'm standing right now, I could throw a rock and probably hit New Jersey.
There you go. In the comments, Jose,
yeah,
what's up? Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, he makes a good point, man. That's another reason, like, why we scheduled our Ohio trip. We're going out pre-rut. We're going 9 days the last week in October, so we're giving our property the pre-rut. Let those bucks come onto our private property in Pennsylvania and see all our does and relax in there, and we're not there. So then when we come back, we're coming back in the heart of the rut to hunt PA. So we're letting it sit for that pre-rut time so that the bucks can come in, they can see our does that we're having, and they can feel comfortable there. They're not getting pressured. We're not there. And then we show up the next week for the Pennsylvania, kind of when the rut's going to fall. Because before, I remember 2 years ago, I hunted every day the last week of October, and I did shoot a buck. It was on Halloween, but I sat 7 days, I didn't see a deer. And I didn't know that me being there every day in the same stand, I was just pushing and pressuring all these deer. And that's why I wasn't getting anything coming in range. And then by dumb luck, I rattled a buck in on Halloween. But that's something that we really learned this year. We learned it the hard way, but we're taking it this year, and I think it's going to really benefit us a lot.
It's the best way to learn, by doing and failing in some cases, but like you're not going to learn. Like you can't learn how to hit a fastball if no one ever fucking pitches one to you,
No.
Yeah, well, it's like you guys had. I was listening to your guys' episode with Mark Kenyon, and he was saying that hunting is just the collective of making the right decisions. Every time you go in there, you're processing what you learned from the last time, trying to make the right decision going forward.
Yep, you stack it on the last year and the year before that and the year before that, and eventually it starts to compound, and suddenly you start seeing more deer, and it's a little bit of luck, but I listen to rap music. Big Sean says a little luck, a lot of grind. You got to put a lot of grind in, and eventually you get some of that luck from the grind.
Yeah, I had a little bit of luck last year, and then this year is going to be the grind time.
There you go. So, okay, full draw assassins. Like, where did the name come from? What do you guys even do? What are you doing? We didn't get to that yet.
Honestly, the name is so I wanted when I started like kind of dabbling around with camera and filming, like Kenny was saying last season. I was like, hey, let's start a social media something, just somewhere to put the stuff that we're taking all these nice pictures and videos. We're like, we need to put it out somewhere. I can't just put it on my personal page because people around where we live, our friends on our regular personal pages, don't hunt. So they don't give a shit what we're posting about hunting. They don't care. So I was like, well, I'll start a page for both of us to run. You can have the password, I'll have the password, and we could both run it so we could put out our hunting stuff and just have hunting friends on there. And I was thinking of a name, and I always loved, when I was a kid, I always wanted to have I always loved the name. Like, I just love Full Draw. I have on my arm, I have tattooed "Live Life at Full Draw." I just love that saying. Full Draw just meant so much to me. With like when you're at full draw, the world stands still, everything stops. It's this experience that I wish I can have every day when you're at full draw on a deer. It's just like you don't hear nothing. Time doesn't exist. It's the best feeling. And honestly, assassins just got thrown in there.
It's a fucking badass word, right?
We rolled with it though. We're like, let's just roll with it, and there's no turning back. I mean, we already set a platform. We like it. We're gonna live by it. Even if we're not assassins, Who
We're
gives a
speaking
shit,
into
you know?
existence,
You
Jake.
can act like and
Well,
behave like an assassin, right?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah, but we're trying to speak it into existence at this point.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, we're trying to
what
make it a
fake
reality.
it till you make it, right? That's how it works.
Hey, there you go.
To a degree. I don't mean that negatively. I just mean like sometimes you got to just go through the motions and start to, you know, if you smile long enough, you start to actually feel freaking happy. That's how it works.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason we're still here.
You just smile all the time. Look creepy like clowns. Oh man. That's, I mean, the kind of like where you guys are pulling from strikes a chord with us. I love that you're doing both public and private, that you're doing out of state too. That's a topic that we've talked about. It's hard for people to like wrap their mind around how to make that jump. And you guys went 7 hours. You didn't need to go 7 hours, but you did. I mean, that's pretty neat. Why Ohio? Like what?
We could have went to Jersey. We could have we have Pennsylvania public land, but I just wanted to make the venture, you know. If we're gonna go full fledged, let's go full fledged, you know. Like I could have drove 5 hours and went to Pennsylvania, good public land, but I was like, dude, if we're already out there, let's just go farther west and where the big deer are, you know. And it's hard to just go there and pick a spot and see deer, you know. I learned that the hard way when I went out to Ohio like 5 years ago for gun season. But so I said, if we're gonna go out there, we got to go full fledged. Like we got to go out there and scout it, and then we got to go out there again and scout it. So, and then that's why we're going to be out there for 9 days. So we're just going to be aggressive. If we're not seeing a deer within a day or two, we're moving stands. We're bouncing around. We got kayaks. We're going to be going across creeks. We have like 6 different spots, all within an hour of each other. We're going to be losing weight. We're going to be losing sleep. That whole week is just going to be a constant grind. But I feel like if we just keep doing that and on some good land that we are pretty certain we're on some pretty solid land. We found a nice shed out there in March and a lot of sign. And then in August we met a guy, our buddy Justin, that we just met up with. He's a great dude. He never met him before. He just messaged us on Instagram, and he said, "Hey guys, you guys are coming out here for 9 days. I'd hate to see you guys not be successful. I know some really good public land spots. I hunt private, so I don't need to benefit from these spots, but I know no one really goes back there. They're really good spots. I see deer there all the time because I work on the pipeline back there." And he spent a whole day with us walking around showing us spots. So just so grateful to him. But that's what I'm talking about, man. We just kept, if someone gave us somewhere to go, we went and checked it out, or we went on a spot ourselves. And it was just all just random and talking to people and gathering information, learning and teaching. That's all this is. Through the social media of hunting is just learning and teaching and not knocking people for what they do. You learn from someone, and then you teach someone what you learn from them, and it just is a reoccurring cycle.
Right. And you try to pay it forward. So next time you meet somebody that maybe needs a little help, you help them out too. That's what it's all about. That's what it should be anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys,
There's too much of negativity on that I see around, and that's something we're trying. I'd like to answer everyone who messages us and asks us advice. It could be the 11-year-old kid who has 2 followers. I'll sit there and have a conversation with him and explain to him what he needs to do, and he asks me a question. To the guy who's bigger than me and I ask him a question. You know, just be nice to everyone you meet in the hunting industry or anywhere in life, but especially when it comes to hunting. There's too many people in hunting that are knocking people, and then it's making people not want to hunt. And that's what I told Kenny. That's like what I said with Kenny. Like, guys his age who were in the situation that he was would have gave up a while ago.
Right.
You know, but I was there to keep pushing them forward and keep them going and keep them in it and say, hey, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, you know. And a lot of guys don't have that, and then they hang it up. And then there's one less hunter, and that hurts everybody.
Oh, I totally agree, man. It's the neck biting the head off when these people are cannibalizing, you know, the community, and it's unfortunate that happens. It's a lot of what the OKS Hunter stands for is, you know, putting an end to buck shaming, having fun afield, making memories that last a lifetime, and, you know, supporting conservation. So we all have a place to do the activities that we love so much, whether that's, you know, bird watching or killing deer or squirrels, whatever the hell you're into, fishing, you name it. But at the end of the day, you know, we got to treat each other fairly. And, you know, it's funny because, you know, there's some pretty big names in hunting. Jim Shockey, Michael Waddell, Mark Kenny, we just mentioned him. But to people that don't know hunting, they don't freaking have a clue. My wife's like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And I'm like, what? Oh my God, you don't know? Because like, of course I pay attention to it. And you know, we have this niche community, but even folks like Mark Kenyon, he was nice enough to come on the show, not once, but twice, and just share what he's learned.
That
And,
was-
you know, he's pretty
That
humble
was
about
funny.
it.
I got a funny story. So we were at the Great American Outdoor Show last year. Kenny, you remember this? And I always used to watch Kip Campbell all the time. You guys probably know who he is from Red Arrow. And he was standing like 10 feet from us, like taking pictures of people. And I'm like, holy shit, Ken, that's Kip Campbell. He's like, Kenny, you don't watch out. He didn't watch outdoor TV. He just watched YouTube hunt shows. And I said, that's Kip Campbell. He's like, I don't know who the hell that dude is. I'm like, dude, we got to get a picture with him. And then Kenny went, and now you love him, right, Ken?
Yeah. Now he's one of my favorites.
That's great. Yeah, I did the same thing with like Whitetail
He's like,
Adrenaline,
dude, I don't
man.
know who he
Like,
is. I don't want to wait in this line for a picture. I'm like, dude, you have to. It's Kip Campbell. He's a man.
that's great. That's funny though, you know, like they're just people doing what they love, just like us. You know, maybe they just had a little more success or knew the right people or whatever it is, right? Combination of things and got themselves in a position. But
And you meet guys like that, and they're the most humblest guys
They
in the
are.
world. You know,
Yep.
like you see them from afar, you're like, oh my God, that's Kip Campbell. And then when you go up and talk to him, it's like you're just talking to a regular hunter. You know,
that's
And
what makes this
we're all-
community
we
so
all love
great.
the same thing.
Yep.
You're just on a different platform than us. That's all it is.
Yep. And I think that's what makes it great. You end up talking to these people face to face. You shake their hand. You know, you get to look them in the eye, and at the end of the day, they love the same stuff we love, man. You know.
Yep.
And maybe there's some extra
And they
around
can
that for
do-
them
they
around
can
the
do
fringes,
same
but
thing they're doing.
Mhm.
You know, it's not like meeting a pro football player. You know, I can't do what he does, but I can meet a pro like Kip Campbell, and I can go out and shoot a nice buck. You know, it's that relatability to those guys because we could do the same thing that these guys are doing. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what drove me to we could do that. You know, you could shoot the same size buck as that. You know, you don't have to be a star athlete to do that.
true, right? And there's some actors that hunt. Who's the guy from the hell's his name? I don't know any actor's actual name, but the dude from Guardians of the Galaxy and Parks and Rec.
It's Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt, he's a hunter. You know.
Oh yeah.
Chris Pratt, yeah.
I'm jabbing him, man.
He's
OKS
a
Hunter's
big
gonna get him as our
advocate for
freaking
hunting.
sponsor or promoter or whatever you want to call him. I think he should be our pro staff.
I think he stays under the radar, that guy, man. I never see him in the tabloids, but I know he's
He's a hunter.
time
Yeah.
advocator for hunting.
Mhm.
Yep.
Anybody knows that guy? I don't know where he's from. Someone jab him a little bit more. So let's get him involved. Get him on the show
That would be something.
because he doesn't fit the mold. You know what I mean? He's in a freaking area that like he's among a lot of people that are anti-hunting, and so you know I don't get a lot of exposure to people that are hating hardcore. Like people might hate the show or something, but people don't hate hunting or hate me because of it. I don't encounter that. I wonder if someone like him has to deal with that kind of stuff. Where you're truly dealing with an
Well,
anti-hunter.
yeah, didn't you hear that too, Kenny? That Justin Timberlake actually hunts,
Yeah, like there's a lot of celebrities that you'll hear about that they hunt, but they got to keep
but
it
they
on the
keep
radar.
it quiet.
Yep.
They have to because they won't be working.
Well,
That
it's
demographic
taboo
got-
in their whole
Correct.
lifestyle. I
Yep.
mean, that whole community that they're in. It's just the way people are. It's not acceptable.
Yeah.
You know, why go hunting and maybe try to bring home a little bit of extra meat when you can go to the grocery store, or just the fact that you're hunting and killing something rather than and taking responsibility for it versus just going to the store and purchasing it, you know, and not being, you know, labeled as a killer.
So I think Joe Rogan's doing anything, you know, because he's connected to some of that community. He talks a lot of, I mean, he talks to some of the most famous people in the country, in the world, you know, some of these brilliant minds or entertainers or whatever. And, you know, we all know what he does, and he's got no shame, right? Which is good. We went down some
But
rabbit
he-
holes.
His thing is just that's his big thing is discipline.
Yeah.
Whatever he gravitates to, he does it 100% until his fingers are bleeding with that guy.
Yeah, which is cool. It's respectable to a degree. So you guys have you started like a season 1 and now you're looking at season 2 and you guys are going pretty hard. Like what can people expect from you guys going forward? Like what are some of the things in the kiln here that you're firing up?
Okay, yeah. So So last year we had a couple clips, you know, we put stuff out, and then I actually went back and edited all that on our YouTube. Just we both elected that this season we're going to put out a season 1. The name of the season is New Beginning, because it's not technically our beginning, but it's a new beginning. Down from our camera equipment, down to our bows, down to our arrows, down to our camo patterns, down to our areas of hunting. Everything's a new beginning for both of us. So we're going to put this out as season 1, New Beginning, and just do everything right. You know, I mean, last year we kind of dipped our toes in the water to see how it would work out. And I wasn't really satisfied with the content, because I know what I could do now versus what I did then. So I'm really focusing on this year as season 1 and pushing it. I mean, we had our turkey season. That was Pursuit, we call it, season 1. We had really good success. We had really good footage with that. But this year for deer season, New Beginnings, it's going to be just following us the whole way, man. Just how aggressive we're going and just trying to get people off their ass and just going for it, you know, just being aggressive, doing everything you can do. You know, 3 months of hunting season goes by really quick, so take advantage of every minute you can of it. And then we're just going to be pumping content out and just bringing everyone with us and trying to be personable. I want people to feel like they're friends with us after they're done watching an episode. That's the main goal there, is to make sure, like, hey, I could drink a beer with these guys, you know.
Well, you guys better drink beer on it then.
Sound like
Step 1.
Yeah,
drink
I
beer.
don't want to sound like a tight ass, you know. We're trying to be as real as we possibly can, and that's who we are. We're real, and if people in the industry or anybody like that doesn't like who we are, then that's, hey, you know, screw them. You know, we're just doing us. You know,
Well, and that's what you got to do. You got to do it for you. And if you have people that are agreeing with what you're doing, that's your fan club, and those are the folks that are going to support you, whether it be 5, 10, 20, or 2. It doesn't matter. But
yeah, I had a kid message us a while back, a young kid, and he hit a nail with me, you know, in a good way, because he was hitting me up and he said, hey, I'm really inspired by what you guys are doing. I really want to be in the hunting industry. I want to film my own hunts, and I want to be big. And like the way he was saying it, I said, hey, buddy, I said, don't take this the wrong way. I said, you don't want to be, that shouldn't be your goal. You know, that wasn't our goal, and that's still not our goal. Just put out, if you want to film your own hunts, do it. You know, I do it with what you can afford and where you can hunt, and just do it. And and be yourself. And the people you want to follow you and the people you want to watch you will watch you if you be yourself, you know. If you fake it, you're going to get people you don't want to watch you. You know, if you just constantly be yourself, you're going to get people that relate to you and then are like you, and they're going to be the people that follow you and then that are with you and grow with you.
Yeah, nothing's more important than authenticity, and people can smell bullshit a freaking million miles away in today's culture. Like, if you're being fake, people pick up on it and they're out. They're done. It's like a deer coming into a decoy. If it knows it's not a real decoy, it's done. He's gone.
Yeah.
You know, same thing with people.
Don't want to be that decoy.
Be yourself.
no.
We've been being told to be ourselves since we were freaking little kids, all of us, through every sort of messaging you can come with. And somewhere along the way, there's all this stuff, self-talk that says, well, don't be who I am. Be who I think would be cool. You know, don't go into business to self-satisfy. Go into business to make money. You know, don't go into deer hunting because you want to. You know, it's like that's all wrong. It's all wrong. It's all backwards. Every bit of it. You know, be yourself.
And I credit Kenny to that 100%, because when we first started, I like doing what we were doing. I grew up just watching hunting channel, you know, and outdoor channel. So I was kind of like that. I was like, Ken, you can't curse. You know, you can't do that. And then he kind of was like, dude, he's like, this is who I am. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is who I am too. Why am I trying to be like this? And if you go back through our content and stuff, you'll see you'll see a big change with how we started to act, because we started out acting like that decoy, like you said, because we kind of thought that's what we had to do, and then we just got to the point where we're like, you know, fuck it, like we're gonna be us, we're gonna do what we are. I mean, we're in Southeast Pennsylvania, we're in between Philly and New York, like. we have attitudes, we drink beer, and we have fun.
The only
You know,
reason,
that's
the only
what
thing
we're
that would
about.
make
We're
you
not-
guys cooler is if you had
we're
like
not gonna
Boston
try to act like
accents.
farmers.
if you guys were like, hey, we're from Boston, you know, we
do
killed
it.
big deer. I
Don't-
can't do an
don't do
accent,
it.
so like, it's not. I'm not even doing it right, but
Dude,
you know,
just park your car in the yard.
it's the hopper.
Oh, God.
You gotta get your bowl. You know, I'm now doing Scottish. I'm just all over the place.
Dude, just let it go.
I've had
Let him
family
talk.
from Boston, so you're doing a very good job. I'll give you credit.
Greg's got it down. But like, dude, it's no different than dating. Another analogy. Like, people go on dates, the girl gets all dolled up, the guy gets all fancy, and everyone fucking lies. It's like best foot forward, mask on. Like, tell you what, gloves off, freaking mask up. Just be yourself, and then you'll find your wife or your husband. Like, stop fucking around.
Mm-hmm.
People just need to be comfortable,
how we-
man.
Yep. And that's how we found our niche. Honestly, that's really how we did it.
That's why I drink scotch and
figured out
bourbon on
what-
this show. I got to be myself, and a little bit of liquor goes a long way with making sure I'm putting forth the right Eric Clark, the real Eric Clark. That's why Greg's fucking laughing over here because I'm
Crazy
a
how
glass and a
many
half
hunting
deep.
shows, like on TV, these guys don't even show themselves drinking beer at camp. You know, it's like, it's crazy. It blows my mind. 'Cause every guy who's watching that show is a hunter that drunk beer at a deer camp, you know, and had fun and like, oh, we're getting away from our wives for a week. And
That's why Whitetail
that's
Adrenaline
what
did so
these
good,
guys do,
dude.
man.
Their car broke down. They got pulled over several times. They drink in
Yeah.
shitty hotel rooms and motel rooms. Like, it's relatable, you know?
Mm-hmm. Just be relatable to the average viewer, you know, and that's what all we're trying to do. That's all you can do.
No,
I
you'll
won't
do
watch
great then.
Stuff like that now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so maybe there's time for two of these things. Maybe there's time for one. We'll see where it goes. Derek, can you, since I plan to see it with you and Kenny, if you got one on deck, think about it. Derek, what's to date your most memorable hunt?
I got one that leads into an actual memorable hunt, if I could say that. It's not two, but one that leads into a really good hunt. So, I was up archery hunting late October. I think it was around Halloween, upstate Pennsylvania, and I'm sitting in the tree stand, and I haven't shot a buck with a bow yet, and it's last light. And I have high grass in front of me, waist high, but if I'm up high enough that I can see down into the grass, and I see a deer pull out of the tree line. I'm hunting over this cut through the woods, this cut through, and it's walking right to me. And if it walks in front of me, it's going to be broadside at 30 yards. And I've never shot a buck with a bow, so I'm nervous. I'm cranked up. The buck walks. It's walking. I see it. I know I think it was an 8-pointer. It was a nice buck. It was a nice rack. I pull back. I shoot. And the buck does a 180, spins around. And I'm like, holy shit, that's not how it is on the hunting shows. So I could shoot again. I put another arrow in. I shoot. I hit it like towards the top of the back. It takes off. And it's like getting dark at this point. I just see the Illuminox from my arrow running up the top of the mountain. That's how dark it is where we are. I can just see it run up the top of the mountain. I'm like, okay, we're going to let it sit. So the next day, we pull up. My buddy that was with us, he was going to hunt. I was going to hunt. I had a doe tag. And then around 9 o'clock, we were going to get out and go look for the buck. I definitely didn't make a good shot on it. We pull up to no, I can't make this up. We pull up to the cornfield, and he's like, holy shit, dude, what is that out there? You see my Illuminox running across the field the next day in the morning, running across the cornfield. You just see my Illuminox. That arrow is still in him. I'm like, all right, I guess he's still alive. And then that led into the next week. We came back up. We know we didn't find that deer, you know. I drive all through the night to get to camp. I get to camp at 6 in the morning. I pull my bow out. I take a couple shots. Everyone else is already hunting. It's November 4th, upstate Pennsylvania, which is normally freezing cold, and it was like 65 degrees, and I'm sweating. It's 11 o'clock. I get in the stand. I'm sitting there. I'm on my phone. At 11:05, I look to my left, and there's a nice 8-pointer walks right next to me at 10 yards. I stand up. stops and runs 10 yards farther, turns around, and I pull back, and I hit him. I thought I hit him good. He ran. I call my buddy. He comes down and gets me, and we're walking down the hedgerow, and we go. And he's like, "There's blood, there's blood, there's blood." I'm like, "I never tried to buck with a bow." I'm all super excited. I don't know what the blood trail looks like with an arrow. I'm like, I don't know if this is good. And he's like, "He's over there." And I started bawling my eyes out, crying like a kid. It was unbelievable. And it turns out it was the same buck that I shot with the Illuminati the night before. So that was it was two stories into one, but it was the most memorable experience of my life. I could still relive it in my head, the emotions, the feelings I had, holding my first buck, knowing I shot it with a bow, and it was unbelievable. I still get that feeling every time, but just something about just thinking back and just knowing that feeling, holding the rack in my hand, calling my grandpa who taught me how to hunt, calling my girlfriend, my mom, and everyone. It was unbelievable. It's a feeling that you chase every year, and that's why we keep doing what we do for moments like that.
That's a good story. The fact that you got the same deer you put an arrow in that's pretty cool. Pretty hard to do and rare. That's like fate.
I hit him in the back trap, so
You got the job done. Kenny, what about you? You got a memorable hunt?
I'd say most memorable would be that second deer I shot last year. It was I can't remember details, but I think it was like Saturday afternoon. We hunted the morning separately, and I didn't see anything, and he didn't see nothing. So we both hopped out, said, "Let's go get lunch. We'll come back in, and let's go sit together." He's like, "I'll film you." I was like, "All right, that's fine. That's cool." So we go across the other side of the property, set the blind up. We brush it all in. We sit down. We're sitting there bullshitting back and forth. Next thing you know, I look over. There's a doe, pops her head out of the hedgerow, looks at us, backs away. I'm like, "What the heck was that, man?" Usually they run off. She's like, "Dude, she's probably listening to us the whole time." I'm like, "Oh, whatever." She go about doing her thing. About 20 minutes later, two does come up. They split off. One walks down the middle of the field. And what was so memorable about it was, A, there was luck that I even shot it, because it dodged the arrow and turned at the same time. And I ended up hitting her in the neck, and I dropped her. So that was pretty cool to see. But the funny part about it was there was construction going on in the house right behind it the entire time in the video. So as we're sitting in the blind afterwards watching it, you could hear the dozer going off, beep, 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 beep. And I just thought that was, I thought it was just like, it was just our luck, nail in the head. It was just like, it was a bad, I think the day before I missed a doe with him and we were trying to film.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
So it was like it was kind of bittersweet, because he was like, "Come on, we'll try it again." And then two funny incidents in a row, and then got lucky by dropping her.
Awesome.
With the construction going and everything, it probably worked in your favor in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, because it was earlier in that season. I think that might have been like the third weekend, and the first 2 weeks I could hear them starting at 7 o'clock prompt every Saturday, and I was thoroughly worried. I'm like, this is just going to scare all these deer out of here, and I'm not going to see anything for the whole season, because they were still building.
Just makes it less peaceful for you.
They're like still building it now. Like they're still doing stuff around the property, and it's like, okay, I guess these deer really don't care about loud noises like that. But you fart the wrong way, they'll run off,
Yeah, because you're in the living room, like it's different. But they're there all the time. They hear it every day. It's like, well, this is where I live. It's just no different than construction in your neighborhood. You'd be like, well,
just
fuck.
the neighbor kid playing with this tractor again. That's all.
Yeah. You guys, those are good stories. I don't know if you know, but we do the memorable hunt series where we'll make that sound real polished and pretty and all that stuff. So I don't know when that'll pop, but it'll pop.
Oh, sweet.
And thanks for sharing that stuff. No calls on the show tonight. It's just been the way the lay of the land lately. I think people just don't want to interrupt. Whitetail Experience looks like they had called in early on and they dropped off, so we missed them. But we appreciate you guys taking time out of your schedules and jobs and day and time out of the woods to be on the show with us. I know it's getting late over on the East Coast there. You guys are an hour ahead of us. So thanks again, guys, for being on the show. Can you point the listeners in the right direction to go find your stuff everywhere that you exist?
Yeah. You guys can follow us on Instagram at Full Draw Assassins. Then we have a link for you under there to go to our YouTube. You can watch our Pursuit Season 1. This is Derek. I shot a turkey. Kenny was filming. And that story that Kenny just told is actually on there. You can hear the dozer in the background. You turn the volume up enough, and you can actually see it moving. So go check that out. It's actually really hilarious. But keep an eye on that YouTube, man, because our season starts in 3 weeks, and we're going to be pumping out good content. So, yeah, check us out. Full Draw Assassins on Instagram and YouTube.
And you're going to be pumping out, like, as the season goes, right? That's what it sounds like. So I won't have to, like, come back next year? Or what's that like for you guys, the release schedule, that stuff?
Release schedule probably is going to be after bow season. We're probably going to take time and enjoy and get as much footage as we can. So I'm not crammed in trying to get an episode a week, and then it's not as good as I want it. So I want to kind of have time. So, but anything could change, But as of now, our episodes are probably going to be pumped out on YouTube after the season. But we'll be putting on clips and stuff on Instagram weekly after our hunts. So check out our Instagram. We will really be putting a lot of content out. You'll be knowing what we're doing, when we're doing it, and what we're seeing and what we're shooting at all times. I promise you that.
Rock on. Cool. Good stuff, guys. Well, thanks again for being on the show tonight. We're going to cut the live session, and we'll get this thing produced tonight. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.